My beautiful friends, let's do a soul tribe reading. I wanted to do one yesterday, but I didn't have the energy to do it. So we're going to do a soul tribe reading this morning. Although I'm not posting it in the morning, I'm filming it in the morning. But I really wanted to come on and read that other chapter of that book. So we're going to read that after we get some cards. And I actually never moved these cards from the Inner Child Oracle. I never put them away, so I'm going to keep using them. I did just set aside the ones that we got in the reading the other day so that we don't get repeating messages. But again, it's one of my favorite decks, and I think that inner child healing is very important. I feel like it can free you in a lot of ways. So we're going to use this deck again. So we're going to shuffle. You know the drill. You've been here. We're going to shuffle, and then we're going to read the bottom of the deck, and then I'll shuffle some out. And then we'll read chapter 7, I believe. I believe we're on, where is it? I believe we're on chapter 7. Yes. Overview of the themes of consciousness, which I find those themes of consciousness, I took a photo for you guys to screenshot. So hopefully you have it. If not, I can take it again. Yeah, it's here again. So I'll take another photo of it in case you missed that reading. But if you're interested in having that book read to you, I've been reading it, and on the Soul Tribe readings where I read it, it says The Inner Work in big letters so that you can find it in my Soul Tribe reading section. Very beautiful book. No, it's not like the books that are being like, what's the right word? You know, I have so many like book scammers in my comment section, and it's not just me, it's like every tarot reader I see. And I know it's a scam because it's like a bot that has multiple accounts. They all come in at the same time, and I keep removing them. I keep deleting them. I keep blocking them. Don't. If a book is worth reading, in my opinion, as a light worker, someone shouldn't have to sell themselves in a comment section and have bots and push it like that. Who knows? Maybe it's even a scam. I don't know. I don't want to find out though. But anyway, this book, I'm finding it very informative. I'm finding it very helpful. Part of me is a little bit relieved that I feel like I've already done some inner work because I already resonate with a lot of it. But you know what I say, there's always room for improvement. There's always more healing to come. So I'm really enjoying it. So thank you for reading it with me, because if you weren't reading it with me, I would not read it. I have to tell you guys something funny that happened yesterday. I realized that I've been masking my spiritual side. Now, when I'm with you guys and when I talk to like my spiritual friends, I don't mask that side of me. But I have been masking it in my everyday life, and I just have to laugh at myself because you'll laugh at me or with me. I know you're not laughing at me. But yesterday I just like, you know the Hulk? You know the Hulk? Like, roar! When he rips off his shirt or whatever. I don't even know. I've never even watched the Hulk. I mean, maybe I watched it once upon a time. But the image that I have of the Hulk in my mind, maybe it's because in Florida at Universal Studios, I think the statue outside of the Hulk roller coaster, he's like ripping his clothes off, like not in a sexual way, but in a like, roar! That was me yesterday. And I realized that I had been hiding my light. I'd been masking my light. And it just came out yesterday, and I even said, and I laugh at myself when I think about it. I even said, I just laugh at myself when I look back and I hear myself saying it. I was like, I'm actually spiritual as fuck. And it just makes me laugh. Anyway, I'm going to work on being more authentic. I know that you guys already find me very authentic because, like I said, I'm very authentic with all of you. But I realized that I was masking it a bit in my personal life. And I'm going to work on shining that light more and being my more authentic self. But anyway, I just have to laugh at myself. I'm spiritual as fuck. Anyway, it made me laugh. All right. Just like feelings that we push down. You can't push those things down and hide them forever, or they come exploding out like me. They come, "Rawr!" Anyway, I just wanted to share that with my soul tribe because I'm still laughing at myself. Okay. So one more shuffle because it feels right. One more shuffle. So what does your inner child need to hear today? Other than you're amazing and you're loved and you're safe, other than that, what do you need to hear? All right. I didn't cut the deck. Let me cut the deck. We have practice freedom, release the weight of judgment. I'm spiritual as fuck. I feel like YouTube is not going to be happy with me for saying the F word so many times, but whatever. Practice freedom, release the weight of judgment. So free yourself, be your authentic self. Who cares what anybody thinks? Everybody will judge you. Everybody. There will always be someone who judges somebody. Always. I was talking about my comment section the other day to my partner, and my son wandered into the room. I was talking about judgment specifically, and somebody took it to the extreme, and they're like, "Are you saying that we shouldn't judge pedophiles?" And I'm like, "No, that's not what I'm saying. Why are you taking that from what I'm saying?" And it's like they took such an extreme to argue my point. And that's not I'm not going to argue with them. That's their belief, whatever. But my son walked into the room and he said, he's 10 and he's so wise. And he walked into the room. Actually, both of my 10-year-olds gave me very good advice recently, my 10-year-old twins. I have 2 sets of twins. But my younger set is 10. And so my son walked into the room and he said, "Are you talking about your comment section?" And I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Just remember, Mommy, that's the internet for you." And he said, "Someone will always take what you're saying the wrong way. Someone will always have a point to argue." And he said, for example, he's so wise. He said, for example, if you say that you really love apples, some person in your comment section is going to be offended and say, "Well, what's wrong with bananas? Why are you hating on bananas? Why are you so against bananas?" And then my other 10-year-old recently said to me, because I was just reflecting on why are these people who don't want these messages even clicking on tarot readings? Why are they listening to the tarot readings and taking the time to comment that they don't believe in it? Or again, this is not about me being triggered by my comment section or anything. I'm just using it as an example. Why are they taking the time to do that? And my other 10-year-old, she's also very wise. She said, "Don't they know that by clicking and commenting that they're telling YouTube that they like that content, and YouTube is just going to keep pushing that content on them? Don't they know that? They'd be better off not to say anything." My 10-year-old, my 2 10-year-olds, wise beyond their years. Actually, I think that all of my children are very wise, and I am a little I'm their mom, so of course every mom thinks their kid is amazing, but my kids are pretty great. And my kids, I've mentioned it before, they're all homeschooled. So they're all their authentic selves. They've never been, they were in the school system for a while and they hated it. But they're all very much their authentic selves. Again, I know that every parent thinks their child is amazing, but I've got some pretty great kids, I must admit. Very authentic beings, all of them. And that's something that I really love for them because I didn't feel like I had that freedom to be authentic when I was younger, or I didn't know how, or whatever it was. Anyway, clearly I love my children very much. I'm tearing up a little talking about them, so let's continue on. All right, so practice freedom. Practice freedom. Let me show it to you. That's like a hawk or something. Judgments that we or others have placed upon ourselves can shackle us, stealing our joy and will to fully embody our life. It is a heavy burden to carry the weight of judgment, and it can keep us trapped in a cycle of fear and blame. Truth. If you have pulled this card, it might be time to consider whether you are being held prisoner by judgments. And that can include self-judgment, right? Or the fear of being judged is what I'm hearing. And I used to be such a judgmental person. Like, I used to judge people who went to church. I'd be like, I was so wounded and unhealed. And now I realize the reason I was judging them is really because I wanted that. I wanted a community. I wanted something to believe in. But it came out as fear and judgment towards them. Does that make sense? I don't know why, but I've been saying, does that make sense? Like 20,000 times today. I know it makes sense to you guys. Inner work exercise. Take some time today, and judgments fall in that wounded theme of consciousness. Take time today to reflect on the beliefs that you hold down about yourself or your inner child. Write down as many core beliefs as you can, and then review your statements for signs and patterns of judgmental beliefs. A good way to do this is to speak those statements out loud and then focus on the feelings and sensations you experience afterwards. On a separate page, write down all of the statements that did not leave you feeling empowered and hopeful. Now is the time to dig a little deeper. Where did these beliefs come from? Why do you believe this is true about yourself or your inner child? If you release these beliefs, are you afraid something might happen? Are parts of your identity built around these beliefs? Answering these questions can help you understand where these judgmental beliefs came from, and why they might have been hesitant to go. Now is the time to counter them. Write down the opposite statements to these judgmental beliefs. Say them out loud and see how you feel. Do you feel empowered, hopeful, or full? If so, then there is truth here that needs to be spoken. I'm spiritual as fuck. I laugh at myself. How does it feel to speak words of truth and freedom over yourself now? All right, so let's shuffle some out. Like I said, I took out all the ones from the other day. So if you missed that reading, it's in the Soul Tribe. It will be the most recent Soul Tribe after this one. So what else does my beautiful Soul Tribe's inner child need to hear? We have be true to who you are. I'm spiritual. I'm not going to keep saying it, but it's just making me laugh. Be true to who you are. Fear will not stop you from shining. And look at that unicorn. Beautiful. Look at it. With its wings, similar to a Pegasus, but it's not a Pegasus. It's a unicorn with butterfly wings. So transformation. Number 5, Hierophant energy, spiritual. The other one was 26. Safety, identity, and connection are all beautiful aspects of life that we crave to know and have. Sometimes in our search for these treasures, we can lose touch with ourselves along the way. The fear of not being part of a collective or not finding the connection we need to feel safe can lead us to betray who we really are. Yes. We may choose to mold ourselves to existing patterns and expectations of the people around us. So I have talked about this, about how I spent my entire life molding myself to fit around the people around me and like mirroring them to fit in. And, oh, you like that music? I like that music. And I wouldn't tell them what music I actually loved. Like I loved love songs. Now I know why, because I'm a love reader and I was like building up my inventory. But I loved love movies and love music. And I was always afraid to like be open and honest about that. And like even when I met not Michelle, my spiritual friend, but my other friend, she was into like rap music and like very negative music. And I just kind of adopted that. And I was like, oh, I like that too. And I would listen to it all the time. And yesterday I realized that I was still doing that. I was still masking who I was. I wasn't shining my light. And that's why that Hulk moment happened where I yelled what I yelled. Anyway, I didn't yell it, but I didn't yell it, but you know what I mean. So by molding to the expectations of others around us, we miss out on the unfolding of our true selves. Yes. If you have pulled this card, then there may be an aspect of yourself or your inner child that has been betrayed in order to be accepted by someone or something. Inner work exercise. Reflect on any activities, actions, people, places, or items that you might have once loved, but have since given up for someone or something else. Once you have found this long-lost, loved thing, take steps today to bring it back into your life. If you have lost many things, try to focus on one at a time. Allowing yourself to come back home to who you really are can be an overwhelming process and best done with gentle kindness. Responsive journaling prompt. Ask yourself or your inner child if you have been untrue to yourself in some way. If so, how can you use your voice to be true to who you are today? Well, you could do what I did and say that you're spiritual as bleep. This is something that I went through when I awakened, and I think I told you guys about it, but when I first awakened, I had nothing in my room. Nothing. I had stopped having my own interests. I had stopped even having interests, and I was just kind of living. I was like a shell of who I am now, or whatever the expression is. I don't understand expressions. They don't have expressions from the planet I come from or the star. But I had nothing. And that was one of the first things I did when I awakened, is I started tapping into my inner child. My inner child used to love to color. So I went out and got myself some coloring books and some pencils, some colored pencils. My inner child used to love magic, so I started getting into this. My inner child used to love candles, so I bought some candles. My inner child used to love stuffed animals and little figurines, little animal figurines. You know, I have a bunch of figurines, and it's just, I wish I had a photo of my room when I first awakened. There was nothing in this room, nothing. And now I am surrounded by everything I love. Like, look at my shelf, for example. Look at the photos on the wall that I drew. See? I colored those pictures right there. I have plants. So it's very important to tap into what you loved as a child and then bring some of that stuff back into your life, is what I'm hearing. Go buy yourself some toys. Like, if you want a toy, if you want an action figure, go buy one. If you want a coloring book, go buy one. Again, I got some really cool coloring books, and then I framed the pictures, and they're all over my walls. And I find coloring or drawing very meditative. Is that the right word? Like, I just kind of zone out and I can process things and process my feelings, and it's very therapeutic. That's the word I was looking for, therapeutic. And how can you use your voice to be true to who you are today? You don't have to yell that you're spiritual as bleep, but be true to yourself. It's so important. Anyway, let's get another card for you. And I always say, how can you align with the people you're meant to align with? If you're pretending to be somebody else, you're going to attract the wrong people. All right, we have today is the day. It's time to begin the journey. Today is the day. Today is the day. 36. Oh no, my nose is running. Hang on. Also, can I just say before I continue this, my daughter wanted me to watch Win or Lose, which is a Pixar show. Amazing show. Amazing. It's only 8 episodes, but it's amazing. There's so many like little hidden messages in it about like not being your true self, about wearing an armor, about hiding who you truly are, about not understanding that we all have different life experiences, that just because you see someone living a life and you're looking in and you see your perception of their life doesn't mean that's actually what's going on in their life. I'm not done it yet. We're going to finish it today. But I'm just so many little nuggets of wisdom in that show. It's amazing. One of my favorite ones, oh gosh, do I want to do this right now? One of my favorite ones is there's a daughter in that show who views her mother as just like being on social media all the time and liking attention and never having time for her. And the thing that she doesn't understand about her mother is that her mother doesn't even have a large following, but the love that she feels from her community, she feels seen because she can be her authentic self, and the love lifts her up. And what her daughter doesn't see is when she's not on social media, she's working other jobs to support the children. But her daughter doesn't understand that. Do you know what I mean? There's another one about this teacher who has emotional armor. So whenever he's like emotionally avoidant, and whenever he feels unsafe, his armor goes up. And through his episode, he learns to take that armor off. And maybe it was a little too late by the time he took it off. And there was another one yesterday about this kid who seemed very self-assured and very confident and like he had a huge ego. But inside he was like this, he had this wounded little inner child who just wanted to be liked and wanted to be himself. And he was putting on a front. He was pretending to be something he wasn't. And he starts talking to this girl and their little inner selves start connecting. Anyway, and there's a tarot reader in it. Anyway, just win or lose. It's made by Pixar. And I wasn't expecting it to be like that. I wasn't expecting the wisdom in it. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that now. 36. I was on the page Let It Go. So I'm done. But I just wanted to mention it. Today is the day. It can seem overwhelming when you look towards the finish line of the journey you have not yet begun and see how long it will take to reach the end. But the finish line is not always where your attention belongs. And I always say, it's the journey, not the destination. It belongs in the space right in front of you. The journey begins with one step and continues with the next step and then the next until one day you have arrived. If you have pulled this card, then it might be time to do what you have been putting off. Cleaning my room. My room is pretty clean. But like I do have like little doom corners. If you don't know what a doom box is, look it up. But I have like little doom corners and my higher self has been like, deal with that, deal with that, deal with that. And I've been putting it off. I even put it off today to do this. But anyway. So what have you been putting off? Self-care exercise. Make a commitment to yourself to begin your journey. Though it might seem scary, know that beyond the horizon awaits something more wonderful than you can know in the present moments. No one is ever truly ready at their first steps. It is not perfection we seek, but a life lived fully. Responsive journaling prompt. How does it feel to start your new adventure today? Take some time to list all of the wonderful things that will come to you on this new journey. There is so much to look forward to. And I've been on my healing journey for 4 years, and I have no regrets. Sure, there's been times where I'm like, why am I doing this? When will it be over? Why am I doing this? Maybe I should just stop. But where I am right now, I have no regrets. I always wanted to be my authentic self. I always wanted to feel comfortable in my own skin. I dreamed of knowing what self-confidence felt like. I was scared I would always hate myself. It's worth it. It's a long journey. It's a lifelong journey. Healing is a lifelong journey, and I hear it all the time. People are like, I'm sick of learning lessons. I'm sick of healing. When is it going to get good? It's already good. You're already on the journey. Enjoy the journey. It's very rewarding. I have no regrets. And you know what I say, like, why isn't everybody doing it? All right. Let's get two more, and then I'll read that book. Because it is Sunday, and I want to go spend some time with my children. Let's get one more. My amazing children. One more. Spend time in nature. And we have, you do not have to go it alone. And can I just say, I know that maybe physically you may feel alone, but spiritually, soul tribe, spiritually you're not alone. Spiritually you have your higher self. You have your spirit guides, your ancestors, you have other people in the world who are on the same spiritual journey. And even though maybe you don't talk to them, you're not alone. We're part of a collective. Anyway, and you also don't have to do everything yourself. That's a sign of trauma. Trust me. Trust me. And we talked the other day about being afraid to ask for help. Trauma. You don't have to do everything alone. Maybe for some of you, I'm hearing you don't have anybody to ask for support. Ask your guides. Ask your higher self. But if you do have someone in your life that you trust, you can ask them for some support. You don't have to go it alone. Reach out for support at this time. And like I said, I know for some of you, you don't have that support. I understand how that feels. I understand that. So I know I can't just be like, oh, reach out for support from your friends and your family. What if you don't have friends and family? But you can ask your spirit guides. You can ask your ancestors. You can ask your higher self. You can ask God if that's what you believe in. All right. Oh, that's magic. We have 43 and 34 mirroring energy. You might want to look up that angel number, 4334 or 3443. Interesting. I like mirroring. What even? 43. 43. All right. It can be a tricky thing to navigate spaces between independence and reliance. Focus. Thank you. For many people, as they were growing up, independence might have been worshipped as the highest standard of personal character and personal achievement. And reliance on another may have been seen as a weakness or being overly needy. While it is good to take responsibility for ourselves, we were never meant to walk this life in solitude. If you have pulled this card, then it is time to be honest with yourself about what you need at this moment. This card might also indicate that it's time to seek professional help as well. So that's how my whole journey started. I had been in therapy before, but I wasn't truly being honest with my therapist. And therapy only works if you're completely honest and ready to be self-aware. If you go into therapy and you're like, I'm fine. I don't have any problems. It doesn't work. And that's what I did when I was a teenager, when I was suffering from like postpartum depression. So then in 2020, when I fell out with my family, I decided I'm going to get some real therapy. And I got this therapist she was amazing. And looking back, she believed in these magical things. But at the time, I didn't believe in them. So she didn't talk to me about them. But she believed in all of this stuff. And she knew that I wasn't being honest. And she was like, I'm going to unpack your baggage. And she was great. So if you can find a good one, maybe some professional support for you. And I know it's not cheap. It's expensive. I know it's expensive. I know. But like I said the other day in a reading, there are resources online on YouTube. I would get one that you trust because there's a lot of also misinformation out there. And if you're highly spiritual, I'm sure there are therapists on YouTube who are highly spiritual who incorporate that into their teachings. YouTube is great for that. I used to find TikTok and Instagram great for that, but now I do not because it's so much. It's like overconsumption of information. So I always suggest, it's like me with tarot. I have a few readers that I listen to. I don't over-consume it. But YouTube is great. YouTube brought us together. Self-care exercise. Your needs are not bad, but rather a normal part of being human. This is triggering me a little. Because I was told as a child my needs were BS. I was told I didn't deserve to have needs. And that's actually, I told you guys the other day, that's what caused a rift in my family, is that I needed help. And I asked my parents for help, and I was met with defensiveness and judgment and other things that I won't talk about here. Your needs are valid. Your needs are important. And maybe you have some wounding around that. Like, maybe you have a hard time speaking up about your needs. If during childhood you were not allowed to have certain needs or feel certain emotions, You might have felt safer making yourself less, making yourself small. It is okay to make your needs known and to take up space. You do not need to separate yourself or go it alone. Take steps to connect with the trusted friends and family. Trusted friends and family. Trusted. And let them be helpful to you. They will be happy to do so and will most likely feel fulfillment and joy of being of service to you. So like I know, definitely can't ask my parents for anything. But I know that if I need a pick-me-up or if I'm feeling down, like I can ask my sister for help. My sister's really good at like, how can I put this? Like I know if I'm ever in trouble, and she's saved me many times, I can go to her for help and she will jump into action to help me. Maybe not emotional help or vulnerable help, if that makes sense. But I know, like that friend I made, that spiritual friend, if I am feeling down one day and I need somebody to remind me that, again, listen to me. I'm having a hard time speaking I'm having a really difficult time speaking about my own needs, even trying to pretend to have a need. Like I'm trying to think of something that I could say that I would need from my friend, and I'm having a hard time voicing it because I've been taught that my needs are not valid. But I know that if I was feeling down and I needed a reminder of who I am and the light I show the world, I could reach out to that trusted friend. I only have one. I could reach out to that trusted friend and I could say, hey, Michelle, I'm feeling really down today. Can you just remind me why I'm doing all of this? Can you remind me of my light? And I know she would be more than willing to help me. And again, maybe you don't have that help. Maybe you need to, if you need something, like if you need to be reminded that you're a beautiful soul, tell me in my comment section in a soul tribe reading, because it'll get lost in the other ones, but I'll tell you. Or, like I said, ask your guides for help, because I know that not everybody has a trusted person. I, for the longest time, didn't have a trusted person, so I know exactly how that feels, and I know how kind of sad and invalidating it can be to hear someone say, just ask a trusted friend for support, and they'll be fine giving you support and meeting your needs. Well, what if that's not available to you? What if the people that you ask get mad at you for having those needs? Childhood. Anyway. Responsive journaling prompt. Is there anything holding you back from asking for your needs to be met? Trauma. If so, how can you take steps today to ask for help? And if you can, I know it's not available to you if you don't have the funds for it, but therapy, your therapist can help you with some of those needs. Your therapist, you can be very open and vulnerable with about your needs if you find the right one. I've heard some horror stories about therapists from other people, so I was so lucky to find a few good ones on my journey. But your needs are valid. They're valid. 34. I'm such an emotional soul. Spend time in nature. If you need love and you have an animal, tell your animal that you need some love and let your animal love on you. Again, I know it can be frustrating when somebody's like, just ask a friend for help. Well, what if you don't have a friend? What if you don't have anybody? Spend time in nature. Earth is a precious gift, one that provides and one that heals. Its beauty nourishes our souls, and its vibrational energy brings steadiness to our bones. It grounds us and inspires us, gives us hope, and brings wonder to our hearts. This is the great mother to all of us. If you have pulled this card, then nature is calling out to you. I just felt called, like, go touch grass. Go lay in the grass and listen to the birds and listen to the wind. And probably you'll hear traffic, because depending on where you are, there's usually traffic everywhere. You can hear like the hum of traffic unless you're super far outside of the city. But let nature support you. Let Mother Earth support you. Wonderment exercise. If you can, take time to go outside today. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin and gaze into the night sky. Touch and feel the softness of a plant. Smell the tangy sweetness of tree sap. Listen to the babble of a brook. Dig your toes into the rich soil. Feel yourself deeply connecting to this wondrous place we are honored to call home. And so many people overlook it. So many people take it for granted because they're just so programmed to be like, they're in the rat race or whatever. Note, if you are unable to go out into the wild, there are a few other ways you can connect to nature at home. You can take a bath with fresh herbs or flowers. You can buy a plant to love on. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of a reading I was doing today. I started petting my plant and I'm like, I love you, plant. Plant. Buy a plant to love on, preferably one that you can touch and caress. Yes. I love touching my plants. Oh, there was this pine, I can't remember what it was called, but it was this pine plant that I had. And it was so soft. I just love to touch that plant. But it died when I was depressed because I forgot to water it. This was before I awakened. You can sit or lie in a warm sunbeam inside of your home, like a cat. Go lay in a sunbeam. You can bring the sense of the forest inside by diffusing pine, cedarwood, cypress, fir, or juniper essential oils. Let your senses guide you on your journey to connecting with nature from the comfort of home. Responsive journaling prompt. How does your inner child feel after connecting to nature? Do you experience wonder at the beauty of the universe? If not, do you feel there is something stopping you from allowing this wonder to come from within? And the world is beautiful. I remember when I started taking photos for photography and I just started seeing the world in a whole new light. Like it was just like, everything is so beautiful. Anyway, let's read the book. We're almost halfway through, my friends. We're flying. I find it interesting. I don't know if you guys watch my love readings, but people will be like, why is your neck turning red like that? Do you have an allergic reaction? And I always say, I only feel that if there's like Phoenix energy. And you can see like this whole reading hasn't happened. Anyway. Overview of themes of consciousness. The awakening of consciousness is the next evolutionary step for mankind. Eckhart Tolle? I'm just going to say Tolle for now. The last aspect of our human experience to discuss before we get into the practice of the inner work is the themes of consciousness and their influence in our lives. While the mind is constantly fluttering and uncontrollably chatting about one thing to the next, I needed to make sure that was recording. Our themes of consciousness can be more consistent and a reliable place to work from if we identify their patterns within our lives. Using awareness, we can reveal how absolutely every aspect of our lives is colored and influenced by themes of consciousness. So, I'm just going to pause it and take another picture for you in case you didn't get it the first time. Hang on. I lied. It's not a picture, it's a video, but you can screenshot that. So, looking at that picture, themes of consciousness. So we have 3D reality as body, suffering, victim, abuser mentality, themes of wounding, insecurity, violation, inadequacy, distrust, loss, overwhelm, judgment, rejection. 4D reality, self is mind, relief, self-empowered mentality, which comes when you transition into self-honesty. Understanding, acceptance, self-motivation, ease, accountability. And then transition into spiritual reality. 5D reality, self is spirit, ecstasy, unity, mentality. Themes of enlightenment, freedom and happiness, love and inner peace. Lessons from water. Dr. Masaru Emoto was able to visually demonstrate the variations of different themes of consciousness in his book, The Hidden Messages in Water. Dr. Emoto, that's funny. that he talks about water, and his name is Dr. Emoto, which sounds like emotions, and emotions are connected to water. That tickles me. Dr. Emoto, I like saying that, captured the effects that vibrational frequencies had on frozen water crystals using a powerful microscope with high-speed photography. He conducted experiments that consisted of exposing water to different positive and negative speech. This is so interesting. Positive and negative thoughts, various types of music, and even photographs. He then froze the samples of water to examine how the formation of crystals aesthetically changed. His experiments showed that water exposed to higher calibrating frequencies, such as love in the form of positive speech and pleasant music, generated uniquely beautiful symmetrical crystals, whereas the water exposed to negative frequencies, such as shame or anger, yielded unformed and asymmetrical crystals. The physical representation of each crystal formation is a perfect visual of how themes of consciousness manifest into the physical realm. And remember how I said my friend's music was negative? I've heard that often. Like, if you listen to really negative music, it can affect you. I need to show you this now, because it shows how the water froze if he told the water it was evil, if he told the water was a fool, or you disgust me. And then on the bottom, the beautiful crystals that look like perfect snowflakes, he would say thank you, love and gratitude and harmony. I have to show you this. This is fascinating to me. Look at that. Screenshot that and zoom in. Look at the bottom ones. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? And the same is for plants. Like, if you tell a plant it sucks all day long and you're negative towards it, it's not going to survive. Anyway, similar to crystals, a person occupying a wounded theme of consciousness, such as distrust, will create a life that looks and feels like distrust. They will experience thoughts of worry and doubt. Terror will surround them. They will experience feelings of paranoia and distrust. They will perceive enemies, whether physically or mentally. They will feel anxious around other people. Their choice of words will often be full of pessimism or panic. When they look at the world, they will see fearful concerns, instability, and jeopardy. Their body may manifest physical issues caused by chronic unresolved fears. In the same way, a person whose theme of consciousness is calibrating in an enlightened frequency, such as love and inner peace, will in turn create a life that looks and feels like love and peace. They will experience thoughts that are compassionate and kind. Their bodies will usually radiate health and wellness. They will feel grateful for all the people and experiences in their life. Laughter and beauty will surround them. They will see the silver lining in every situation. Their choice of words will be full of invention and optimism. When they look at the world, they will see divine love and protection. Example viewpoints from each theme of consciousness. To further demonstrate the varying themes of consciousness, let's look at how each theme might experience debt and credit. From rejection, extreme debt may be seen as proof of our cursed existence and worthlessness. Suicide may seem, I shouldn't even say that word. It's too late now. May seem like an only way out. In judgment, we may obsess on our debts as a demonstration of our stupidity and how wrong we are for having it, or project blame onto credit companies for how vile and wrong they are for enslaving us all. In overwhelm, our debt is completely paralyzing. We possibly giving up making payments, as it seems pointless to even try. We feel there's no way out, and accruing interest will keep us forever trapped. In loss, we might dwell on how much we are losing every day through interest. We might regret our purchases and overall feel our situation is sad and depressing. From the perspective of distrust, we may look at our debt with paranoia and scare ourselves with worst-case scenarios. What if I'll never be able to pay this back? What if I lose everything? In inadequacy, we might see debt as an opportunity to chase our pleasures and are excited to spend money we don't actually have yet so that we can get what we want now. In violation, we may view our debt with annoyance, frustration, even rage at the accruement of interest, cursing aloud each time we receive an unexpected bill which feels violating. Insecurity will either be overly obsessed with its credit score and its smartest and best use of credit, or it will use debt to inflate its appearances through expensive or impressive purchases, but in reality be hiding incredible amounts of insecurity and debt accumulation. In the theme of accountability, debt is finally seen with the integrity of honor. We commit to paying back our debts by courageously doing what must be done to repay, even if it takes a lifetime. In case debt is seen impartially and is what it is, we feel whatever happens will be okay. Thus, even if we have debt, it doesn't really affect our day-to-day life. In self-motivation, debt is seen as an amazing opportunity to launch business ventures, investments, and is seen as an ally in achieving our goals and ambitions. Acceptance sees credit and loans as a useful part of our lives. We don't care to rationalize or debate why the financial institutions are set up the way they are, but nevertheless, use credit with responsibility and acceptance of our limits. From understanding, credit and debt is seen as a fascinating creation of the financial world that, if used wisely, can actually benefit us if we know how to leverage it with cleverness. Thus, we learn creative ways to make more money from credit and debt through things like investments, tax deductions, or interest working in our favor. Finally, from the perspective of love and inner peace, credit is viewed with gratitude for the help we are being offered in our moment of need. We see that the Creator is giving us a gift for something we need right now in order to advance our lives to another level of growth and evolution. We have faith that we will be provided a way to pay back the principal and interest with ease. All we are required to do is put forth our best effort. God will provide the how. In peace and love, we believe everything is working out for our benefit, so use credit and debt wisely. True freedom and lasting happiness represents the transcendence of the physical reality where nothing in the external world could ever affect our internal world. Thus, everything is seen as a holographic projection of consciousness and is just to be experienced and not attached to. We wear any debt or positive credit, that's not an affirmation, like a loose garment, not letting it ever affect our internal state. Nothing of this world actually defines us. The world becomes a divine, The world becomes a divine reality of creation for us to enjoy with a heart of love and goodness. This is not to be confused with lack of integrity or recklessness, which would be reflective of the limiting themes. We are spiritually mature innocence embodied, and have all of the beneficial wisdom of the previous themes. Thus, credit is used with ultimate intelligence and guidance. This is just one example of how each theme has a very specific and unique perspective of reality, and why we see so much diversity among humanity. We could all be experiencing the exact same situation or circumstance, but based on our current theme of consciousness, we will interpret and thus respond completely different to it. Our habitual themes. We call them themes of consciousness because the vibrations you settle into will paint a consistent energetic pattern or theme, just like those snowflakes, through it, or ice, frozen ice, whatever. I saw them as snowflakes. Anybody else? They looked like snowflakes to me. I guess it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? Where was I? These themes will stay with you an entire lifetime unless you consciously address them. Just as good soil will bear good crops, your thoughts, words, feelings, desires, habits, and interests are intrinsically rooted in a theme of consciousness. Negatively charged themes will produce negatively charged thoughts, feelings, and actions, while positively charged themes will produce positively charged thoughts, feelings, and actions. With each theme of consciousness, root program beliefs will find validation, support, and expression through our repeated thoughts, feelings, and actions. This then creates neuroprograms that we begin operating on subconsciously. hence the term autopilot. All of this makes up for our subjective experience of reality. We are not aware of this process. We will naturally think the problems of our life are coming from out there, when really it is all coming from our eternal theme. I believe that. So, I am going to give examples. The other day when I read the negative examples, somebody was like, you don't even need to read that part of the book and you shouldn't be speaking those negative words into existence. But it's a negative thought, the feeling, the thought, the feeling, the action, the root program belief, and then the theme of consciousness. So I am going to read it. But I just want to show you this little diagram that's talking about themes of consciousness, root program belief, and how it affects our thoughts, feelings, and actions, everything we were just talking about. There's a motorcycle outside. So, example. The thought, I am right about this and they are wrong. The feeling, prideful. The action, argumentative. The root program belief, I believe I am superior and others are inferior. Theme of consciousness stems from insecurity. And again, I'm not saying that feeling of being prideful and the action of argumentativeness comes from a conscious place. That's what, it comes from a subconscious place. You subconsciously behave because of your root program beliefs. Does that make sense? And it's coming from a wounded theme of consciousness, insecurity. Thought, I want him. I want to get his attention. Feeling, craving. Action, seduction. Root program belief, I believe when I am wanted, I am loved. Theme of consciousness, it stems from inadequacy. Thought, I look stupid, they are probably laughing at me. The feeling, humiliation. The action, repress and hide. Root program belief, I'm unlovable. The wounded theme of consciousness, rejection. Thought, my life will never be as good again. Life is so tragic. Feeling, sadness. Action, sulk. Root program belief, I lose everything I love. The wounded theme of consciousness, loss. Thought, I will get revenge, I'll show them. Feeling, aggression. Action, attack or demean. Root program belief, I expect to get what I want. Wounded theme of consciousness, violation. Everything is rooted in a theme of consciousness. These examples can help you understand the depth and meaning behind your habitual thoughts and feelings. Nothing is mundane, and everything is always revealing an underlying theme of consciousness. One of the most direct ways to identify a theme is to question the motivation and intention behind your thoughts, words, and actions. Without conscious awareness of why we think what we think or do what we do, we can go our entire lives carrying around limiting programs of the past that are not serving us, unknowingly allowing them to influence who we are in the present. And these inherited themes will ripple into multiple aspects of our lives. For example, in the wound of insecurity, not only will we experience arrogant thoughts and have feelings of superiority, blah, 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 and pridefulness, but we will most likely be attracted to art, movies, and music that promote egotism. Like goes with like, thus each theme will attract people, places, and circumstances that match its vibrational frequency. Just as thoughts are not intrinsically, is that how you say it? I have to not look at it. Just as thoughts are not intrinsically, who we are and are a byproduct of a theme of consciousness, so too are personal traits and preferences. For instance, preferring a loud bar over a quiet temple is correlated to the theme of consciousness our soul is occupying. So is choosing to smoke cigarettes or abstaining, eating healthy or not, enjoying our career or resenting it, being confrontational or easygoing. And this can be said for just about everything we claim is just who I am within our personality. What we might have once thought was rigid and fixed is actually all subject to change and can evolve. Anything is possible. To transcend a theme that is no longer serving you and move into a theme that does, you must stop compartmentalizing your life. There is no situation, reaction, or scenario that is isolated from your autonomy, Anatomy, not autonomy. That's a different word. There is no situation, reaction, or scenario that is isolated from your anatomy of consciousness at that moment. Everything is connected. How you do anything, if you want something new to grow inside you, you must first plant a seed. Affirmation. How you do anything is a reflection of how you do everything. By looking for reoccurring patterns, you can start to identify the frequencies you are living in. If you are living in love, faith and trust will come out of you even in times of struggle. If you are living in distrust, fear will come out of you no matter how ideal your conditions become. The circumstance is not responsible for your experience. Your theme of consciousness is. When looking at humanity with the knowledge of the themes of consciousness, it will become clear that the reason we see so much conflict and turmoil in the world and throughout history is due to these vastly varying themes of consciousness all interacting with each other while experiencing completely different paradigms of reality. Thus, from one theme, what is seen as completely right is actually wrong from another. Just like the hologram, from different perspectives reveals completely different images, so it is with the human experience of life. We all may be looking at the same world or be sharing the exact same situation, but how we each experience it is drastically different. Isn't that funny that I was talking about that show that talked about that? Where was I? We refer to this as paradigm blindness. As much as we like to think there is a fixed objective world that is separate from us, in truth, objectivity is in the eye of the beholder. This has now been confirmed through discoveries in quantum physics. That's what my therapist was into, quantum physics. And I was like, what the fuck is that? The collapse of the wave function. Anything that is outside of the boundaries of our familiar spectrum of consciousness will trigger the ego to respond with confusion or defensiveness. For example, to someone with wounds of violation or insecurity, a concept such as surrender will seem foolish and incomprehensible. Likewise, to those struggling with judgment, forgiveness of self and others is really hard to do and almost feels unacceptable, implausible, or even impossible. Therefore, our anatomy of consciousness sets up not only the possibilities for our life, but also our limitations. Behind every action is a motivation that is rooted in a theme of consciousness. True freedom and lasting happiness can never be realized in gratifying the ego's demands to adhere to its limiting programs. Inner peace can only be experienced outside of the confines of a programmed mind. While the themes of consciousness completely color our perception of reality, it is important to realize that all options are technically always available to us. We can view the hologram from whichever vantage point we wish. Just know that each view or theme is different in its degrees of freedom and happiness. So the question then becomes, which ones are the most enjoyable? In order to move out of a deeply rooted theme of consciousness, you will need to live the practice of inner work. In every single moment, you have a choice to either stay obedient to old programming or break free from it and choose anew. I'm breaking free. I'm breaking free. What song am I hearing right now? I wish I knew what song that was. It's an older song. I'm hearing the line, ain't nobody gonna break me down. I got to keep on moving. That's the song I'm hearing. I don't know why that just popped into my head. Hello, Michelle. She always messages me during Soul Tribe reading. People try hard to let go of their negative behaviors and thoughts, and it doesn't work, or it works, but only for a short time. I didn't let go of my negative thoughts. I questioned them, and then they let go of me. Byron Katie. Overcoming negativity. When we become self-aware, we can honestly examine and question our ego's patterns from a place of non-attachment. What we may discover is that it actually enjoys its negative beliefs. As strange as it seems, I've heard this before, that those negative thoughts releases some kind, I don't know if this talks about it, but it releases some kind of hormone in your brain that's addictive. My therapist taught me that. Interesting. So, what we discover is we may actually enjoy its negative beliefs. As strange as that seems, our ego has convinced us there is a payoff from maintaining negativity and dissatisfaction with life. There is a false sense of power, security, and control in being able to resist life and be negative. It is also the easiest thing to do. It is easy to complain. It is a worthy challenge to be consistently grateful. It is easy to be unhappy. It takes courage to see the perfection of everything as it is. It requires great discipline and faith to maintain a positive attitude in the face of hardship. It takes true power to overcome the negativity of our own ego and others and awaken to being happy, fulfilled, and compassionate. You are capable of rising to this challenge. In fact, it is your destiny, or else you wouldn't be here now. Our misery has actually just been a reflection of the ego's narcissism and a demonstration that it would rather complain, throw tantrums, kick and scream about life, instead of doing anything to change its perspective. In a delusional way, our ego convinces us that being miserable and depressed is secretly empowering. It subconsciously believes, if I can't control my life, at least I can control my resistance to it. Thus, the ego makes things even more difficult than they need to be. From a different theme of consciousness, under the exact same hardships, it is possible to maintain optimism and be loving despite the situation, thereby demonstrating true power. It is important to note that the themes below accountability rely on force, whereas the themes from accountability upward rely on the power of love. Force resists life, true power affirms it. For example, in the wound of rejection, the ego will still look for any situation to validate how worthless it is. See, I told you this would happen. Nothing ever works out for me. Pathetic. I am so unlucky and worthless. Judgment might complain. God must be punishing me. I probably deserve this. This is what I get. Everything is against me. It's their fault. Or perhaps the wound of inadequacy thinks, no matter how hard I work, I never seem to get ahead. The more I want things, the more life shows me I can't have it. The ego actually believes it's suffering and is proving a point. But the only point it is proving is how confused it is. If not careful, the ego can actually become enthusiastic about proving how awful our life is, which is a fascinating discovery. Notice that people often gather to complain and share their stories of hardship and loss, almost as if in a competition of whose is worse. The adage really is true that misery loves company. And if we want to find peace in life, we have to step back and start questioning our ego's perspectives and agendas. If you must doubt something, doubt your limits. Bob Proctor. We're on page 111. The possibility of change. Oh, we're almost done. One more page after this. The possibility of change. This flirtation with suffering and darkness is to be expected and does not make us sick or twisted, simply naive. We all inherited a limited human ego that is attached to familiarity. I don't even know if I'm saying that word right. Familiarity, I think I'm saying it right. Regardless if it is beneficial for us or not. Because our mental stories have become so familiar to us, our brain actually becomes accustomed to the emotions and chemicals those particular types of thoughts produce. For example, fearful or aggressive thoughts release adrenaline. Worrisome and stressful thoughts produce cortisol. That's the one she was talking about and how it can become addictive. So then it's almost like you crave worrisome and stressful thoughts so that you can get that hit of cortisol. Anyway, another powerful hormone. Over time, our bodies and brains start to crave and expect these chemicals on a regular basis. I told you. In some extreme cases, we can become literally addicted to our stress, our suffering, or our victimization. I told you. Anyway. Understand it will take some time and consistent practice of inner work to rewire the brain's neurochemistry. Be patient, kind, and compassionate with yourself. Over time, the old needs and negative energies craving of the body and brain will subside, and eventually, instead of craving stress hormones from worry and doubt, your body and brain will want to enjoy the endorphins that come with gratitude. To trust in the goodness and have faith and hope in a brighter future elicits its own spiritual, mental, and physical rewards simply by indulging in such energies of optimism. This might be my favorite chapter. Well, I'm sure there's better ones to come, but I really like this chapter. The more you engage in any type of emotion or behavior, the greater your desire for it will become. And that goes both ways. The more you engage in harmful behaviors and stressful emotions, the greater your desire for it will come. And the same is said for, like this said, gratitude and love. If true happiness and inner peace are rare, it is not because it isn't available, but rather because few have chosen it. I choose it. I want it. Happiness and inner peace are hallmarks of your natural state. They are who you truly are, who you were born as. It was just programmed out of you. The ego is just blocking you from realizing it, and it has convinced you that you can't have them or that they are only found somewhere other than right now. Again, your ego convinces you that happiness comes from outside of yourself, not from within. The truth is always simple. The ultimate choice is to always present in every moment. No, the ultimate choice is always present in every moment. There we go. All themes of consciousness can be transmuted and healed. No one is exempt. All of us are forgiven in the moment of sincere acknowledgement. All are loved no matter what. No one is forsaken. Nothing is off limits. If you want to be truly happy, you can do this. You can do it. Everyone can be happy and fulfilled. True freedom and lasting happiness are just a continuous lifestyle choice that transcends the wounded themes of consciousness. There's nothing more to it. We don't have to make it more complicated. It is not something that is earned from accomplishing rare or challenging things. Nothing needs to be earned or gained, only remembered through surrendering resistance to the truth. The truth is that you are loved beyond possible comprehension and have equal access to true freedom and lasting happiness. You have to let go and stop listening to all of the other reasons your ego uses to convince you that you aren't worthy and can't have it. I just closed that. I was like, dang. That was the end of the chapter. I didn't mean to close it though. So the next chapter is practicing the inner work. Yay! Finally, we get to practice some of this stuff. Using awareness, personal responsibility, and inner work to review our unskillful or frightened reactions, we become more adept at turning habitual reactions to balanced responses. These moments are very exciting and gratifying. Bishop John Earl. And my grandfather's name was Earl, so it's 111. My grandfather's name was Earl. Apparently he's saying hello. But anyway. I like that. I like that chapter. So, my friends, I'm going to go spend time with my family now. But thank you for reading that book with me. Like I said, we're literally halfway through the book. But if I was to read that by myself, it would still be sitting on my shelf collecting dust. Like seriously, I have so many books that I want to read. But doing it this way is so nice. And I hope you enjoy it too, because you're my soul tribe and I love you. Anyway, thank you for spending so much time with me today, and tell me what you're doing today. If you need to be reminded that you are loved, tell me. Tell me what you need. I'll give you love. If you need a message of support, if you need to be reminded that you're loved, tell me what you need in this comment section, and I will troll my own comment section on this one. Like I said, I've really been trying to be more in my comment section, but sometimes the comment section, like there's so many comments, I just can't keep up. But Soul Tribe readings, I'll keep an eye on this one today for sure. And if you do feel alone, you're not alone. I'm with you, spiritual bestie. And as always, I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.